Hello everybody.
Howdy.
It's been a while.
Has it?
Yeah, but it's been a nice break.
Did we take a break?
I did.
I didn't. I'm still, well actually, yesterday was my last day of work for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So, we're winding down at the farm.
Yep. Big life changes.
Yep.
But at least we had enough time to prepare.
Welcomed life changes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess activism is going to become your job now?
Well, I don't know about my job. I think it's been our job all along.
Okay. Oh my goodness, we got a lot to cover here. And first we want to cover some announcements we got yesterday. Dated September 14th. Happy anniversary, by the way.
Yes, happy anniversary.
41 years.
41 years.
And like we keep saying, we stay together just to prove the elders in Prescott, Arizona wrong.
It's just infatuation. They don't know nothing about love. Here's the thing for you Watchtower knuckleheads. Even though we have long escaped this, snare and a racket, we're still together. I mean, there's nothing in writing now that says we can't divorce, we can't separate, but yet we stay together because we know what love is. I mean, just to make those dumbass statements shows how idiotic some elders truly, truly are.
Well, look at the source.
Oh, of course.
Dave Burnside and the Grippies and Jim Miller, yeah.
Yep,
look at the source.
Exactly. Yep.
And for those of you in Arizona who know those elders, you'll know exactly what we're talking about.
Run!
Hey, Jim, 41 years, we're still together.
Still together.
I used to do that to him at the assemblies. Go out to him at the assembly and say, hey, Jim, 10 years, we're still together.
Well, just to show everybody how well Kim and I know each other, I gave her her anniversary card Monday night, and she opened it up and she laughed and chuckled and said, oh my God, I got you the same card. Yeah, so it's like, well, don't have to give me a card because I know what the card says. It's the card I gave her.
Which reminds me, we've gotten a bunch of cards, and thank you so much, friends. We appreciate it, and we appreciate your love and support. And yes, I had a very bad week last week, and I want to thank all my friends, who were concerned about us and the phone calls asking if we were okay. We were fine. It was just my old dog Zoe. Several years ago she was diagnosed with canine lupus. And for those of you who are familiar with that, it's a very devastating disease for dogs. It's terminal. And it's a horrible disease to have to deal with. And, it was just sad, watching her disintegrate before my eyes. And so it just got to the point to where something had to be done. So, thank you everybody. I had her for 11 years. She was a rescue dog that I got back in 2009. And so thank you. We're fine. We're fine. It was just, I was very upset about dealing with that. So thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we finally ready for these announcements.
Yes, I'm ready.
For elders, use of the Kingdom Hall for judicial matters during COVID-19 pandemic. And it's interesting that they're redoing this announcement, because I had someone contact me and say, hey, the elders told me they can't reinstate me because we can't use the Kingdom Hall and not till after COVID-19.
There again, another line of evidence that Watchtower's watching Kim Mikey videos, because it seems like every time we do this, they come out with, new mandates, new directions.
Yeah, and it's interesting about a part that's going to be on the midweek meeting that I'll get to in a minute. Mm-hmm. And we're wondering if it was because of not only our video we did on the 1983 yearbook, and the Australian JW's war efforts during World War II.
Showing that they were not politically neutral.
And some other things we've mentioned in some of our videos. So we're wondering, if Watchtower is trying to counteract what us activists are saying and doing in our videos. So, going on, it says the Kingdom Hall may be used to investigate reports of serious wrongdoing and to hold judicial appeal and reinstatement hearings. So they're clarifying this more.
And there it is.
So there you go, John.
Yep.
And if you want this, email me. You have my email. I will give this to so you can show your elders. The total number of persons in attendance must be in compliance with any restrictions imposed by secular authorities. All who are present should take precautions to reduce the risk of exposure to infection by maintaining good hygiene, wearing masks, and practicing physical distancing. The location should be thoroughly disinfected before and after the meeting.
And there is the message for the clergy response team right there. See, when Watchtower is doing this, they are in full compliance with what the governments are saying. So I find it extremely hypocritical that in November they're going to be handing out magazines showing that God is going to destroy the governments. If God is going to do that, Watchtower, then what the hell? This makes absolutely no sense because you're showing yourselves being in compliance with the same very government that you're going to be handing out magazines saying God is going to destroy. I mean, talk about stupidity.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Oh, and I just want to mention that I talked to the Postmaster General in another little town that I had to go through, and I happen to know her. She's actually our mailman's wife, and she's the postmaster over in another little town, and she says, yeah, you know, I'm not going to say his name, but he told me what's going on, and we're letting our supervisors know.
Yep.
So, yes, the activists is a mighty army.
That's right.
Going on with the announcements, I digress. So much, news.
Well, this is just an exercise in stupidity, friends. They're going to be handing out a magazine that features that Jehovah's going to destroy all governments, and yet now they're handing out these letters to elders to be in compliance to the governments. I can't believe we followed this bullshit for 42 years. Well, the reason we did is because we didn't know these secret letters. Because see, remember, Watchtower always went to great lengths to let every Jehovah's Witness feed at the same table as Jehovah. And you're not feeding at the same table because your elders and your circuit overseers feed at a different table.
Exactly. They're given more knowledge than the rank and file. So, those of us that leave and then get these letters leaked to us, and a big shout out to all our sources, thank you so much. Those of you who get this information to us, you guys are our heroes.
Yep.
Okay, going on. Number 2, the circuit overseer's expenses.
Oh, no.
I started laughing.
I'll bet you they're going to still want the congregations to support the support the circuit overseers, even though everybody's on Zoom, and it don't cost anything to go on Zoom. Here's the thing. When it comes to the circuit overseers, and if they're using Zoom, they have a permanent place to stay. They don't need to bounce around from town to town and city to city, state to state, country to country, because you're Zooming it all.
Well, I'll read this, and before I read this, I just want to make the comment that if Watchtower uses donated funds like they claim on jw.org, you can go to jw.org and they tell you that donated funds were used to buy premium Zoom accounts. So if Watchtower is buying these premium Zoom accounts for congregations, then they're doing it for circuit overseers also. So why does the congregation still have to pay? So what, are they paying to rent an apartment or something? I'm going to read this before I get on a rant.
This isn't a rant already? I mean, I'm sitting here. How is this not a rant?
Despite the challenges resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, most circuit overseers are using electronic communication tools to maintain their routine of scheduled visits to congregations. This has proved to be a blessing to the congregations, not if they have to pay for everything.
Oh my goodness.
We appreciate the hospitality shown to circuit overseers and their wives when they visit congregations. The Shepherd Book, Chapter 10, paragraph 6 to 8, acknowledges that circuit overseers generally incur some expenses during their weekly visits to congregations. This may be true even where circuit overseers are visiting the congregation by video conference or other electronic means. Please be guided by the direction in the Shepherd Book and instructions for congregation accounting with regard to reimbursing the circuit overseer for his expenses for the week of his visit.
Well, see, part of the problem is for you, Jehovah's Witnesses that are still fully indoctrinated, thinking that this is the truth. The green handshakes have gone away, haven't they?
Yeah.
See, the green handshakes are gone away.
So we know that most circuit overseers, the congregation was informed and that he would stay with someone in the congregation in their home. So are they still doing this and you get called up and say, hey, can you put the circuit overseer up for a week? Are they still doing this? Or are they renting these circuit overseers an apartment? Or is he at Warwick, sitting beside the pool, with a laptop and a drink in his hand?
That's more likely the scenario.
Yeah. Oh, which reminds me. If you go to the video, I didn't have a chance to do a video about this, but if you go to the new video where they're talking about how they did the videos for this summer convention, and they show them building like an old biblical town out in this field and how they had to do it at Bethel, and they had to use Bethel workers since they couldn't bring in, JW actors to Bethel since they're still on lockdown. Well, when they start showing them building these walls in the grassy field, pause it and look in the background. If they're at Bethel, you can see the tennis courts right in the background. It's like, wow. Wow.
Well, see, you got to realize that, the 8 governing idiots, not only do they have to keep their minds, mentally fit, but they have to keep their bodies spiritually fit.
Now, dear, really, can you picture Aunt Mo in tennis shorts chasing that ball?
Well, I'm saying this and I'm hoping that our viewers are trying to picture that same thing, after, realizing that he's a lush. We got, Bottlegate out there. Kids, come on. The whole thing is these are not 8 governing members of the 144,000. These are 8 governing Beetlejuices of the governing body. Stephen Beetlejuice Lett, Anthony Morris Beetlejuice the Turd.
Well, if any of them were ever out on the tennis court or in that swimming pool taking advantage of the cult compound swimming pool, I would love to see a photo or video of that get leaked out. I mean, that would be priceless.
I'd love to see Anthony Morris in a pair of tight pants playing tennis.
All right, going on. We digress. For coordinators of the bodies of elders, midweek meeting part on neutrality. Assign a qualified elder to deliver the 15-minute part, Why is Neutrality So Important? The week of October 26, 2020, in place of the 5-minute local needs part. The timing of the congregation Bible study should be reduced accordingly. The outline for this part is attached. If your congregation will be attending a circuit assembly the week of October 26, 2020, the part should be presented the week of October 19th. And the timing of the congregation Bible study should be adjusted accordingly. To access the video, Why is Neutrality So Important? Go to jw.org library, videos, programs and events, morning worship, To access the video and JW library, go to Media, Video, Programs and Events, Morning Worship.
So that's a special part on being
Politically neutral.
Yeah, why is neutrality so important? So I wonder if this is a direct response to that 1984 yearbook where they showed they were not neutral during World War II.
Has anyone from the Berlin congregation contacted Watchtower headquarters asking them about that being on jw.org still, the 1983 yearbook?
I wonder if it might be the same JWs that you contacted because we found their mailing address.
I don't know. But I want to ask, has any of you, and especially you elders and servants, who used to give talks on what we would call the theocratic ministry school and service meeting, because it used to be called the service meeting. I know they do the workbook thing, and I don't remember what it's called now. But do any of you ever recall an outline being sent from Watchtower to you elders to do a part for the service meeting?
There it is.
That's an outline for this part. So are they getting to where they can't trust the elders to do their own part? They have to have a specific outline for them to follow?
Well, see, the thing is if you have a PMO elder that's assigned this part, he just might go get that 1984 yearbook and show, or 83 yearbook, and show that they were not neutral during World War II. They chose a side to support Jehovah's Witnesses.
But there's just a couple of things on this outline I wanted to cover. And at the top it says, please note, this part is to be delivered as a discussion. Warmly commend the congregation and remind them that Jehovah treasures their faithful service as they shoulder their personal responsibility in this important matter. That's kind of strange. After a brief introduction, play the 7-minute video, Why is Neutrality So Important? Thereafter, ask the questions listed below. Question, what does Christian neutrality mean? Then they have brackets. Not taking sides in political issues, either actively or mentally.
Oh.
How can they control what you think of what you watch on the news?
But not only that, if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you are part of the clergy response team, as we discussed a little bit earlier in this video about using your kingdom halls, wiping them down, proper hygiene, wearing your mask, yada, 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 then you are not politically neutral. And guess what, Jehovah's Witnesses? The book of Romans, be obedient to the superior authorities because there is no authority except from God. That scripture alone makes every single solitary Christian on this planet, that makes you a non-neutral party because you are doing what the government mandates. I've said this before and I'll shout it right here. If you are a Christian-based faith religion and you have a 501c3, that government owns you because you are a corporation. You are not and never have been a free church of Christ. Figure it out, friends.
Next question. Why is Christian neutrality important? Brackets. The political system wants to put its mark on us.
Ooh,
Revelation
the mark.
13, 16, and 17.
The
There's
mark
your mark
of the beast.
of the wild beast.
Yep.
I find that interesting that that question is in there, knowing we just did the mark of the beast. I don't know, could be a coincidence.
Coincidence, maybe it's all timing. I don't know, because Watchtower tries to convince us that they've got these things scheduled out, 6 months in advance or however it is they sell the bullshit these days. But the point being, friends, is that if you've got a 501c3, you have the political noose around your neck.
Exactly. The government controls you, especially if you are taking advantage of their grants and food distribution, any of their programs. We did a video years ago, back when they had the Watchtower farms,
That's right.
of them getting farm subsidy grants.
That right there tells you that you're taking advantage of a political system.
Exactly. Next question. What are 3 things that could erode our Christian neutrality? Number 1, propaganda the media puts forth.
What about the propaganda Watchtower has put forth over the past 100 years? All you got to do is compare, the early 1900s to now, and you can see that propaganda that Watchtower has put out there has changed. I mean, after all, are blood fractions against God's law? Absolutely they are. So how many people died because of that propaganda? And now in 2011, whatever
2006?
2006, blood fractions are now a conscious matter. That's Watchtower propaganda, and it's propaganda that's been used to wake up many, many indoctrinated Jehovah's Witnesses, and it still works to this day.
Number 2, sporting events.
But really, how could sporting events?
I know they've always played the national anthem before a sporting event, but it was no biggie. How can that erode your Christian neutrality?
Well, because the whole thing now is, you got the black anthem now being played in, the NFL. You've got the whole, calling
Take a knee.
Kaepernick crap. Let's take a knee, and it's very easy to watch these sporting events and get caught up in the political fervor that's being projected today.
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of a strange one.
Well, and here again, you got to stop and ask yourselves. We know that Jehovah's Witnesses can't be in attendance physically, but now they could virtually be in attendance.
Yeah. Now this next one was a big question mark too. Number 3, political promises being made during election time.
But
We've always had political promises from both sides.
Well, even Watchtower's made promises. You won't grow old in this system of things. You don't need to spend time getting educated. You don't need to become a doctor because we won't need doctors in the new system. Look at all of that political bullshit that Watchtower's pushed.
Okay, this is a really good thing. That's a really good point because look it says, what are 3 things that could erode our Christian neutrality? What are 3 things that could erode our faith in the Watchtower Bible Tract Society?
Yeah.
Our promise that Mike and I would probably not even finish school, that we would not grow old in this system. What about that promise made to us?
That's right, Watchtower.
What about all these promises that Armageddon was going to come before the 1914 generation? And now you've got what about all these, flip-flops? All of these were promises that have eroded our faith in the Watchtower Bible Tract Society.
That's right.
I can think of more than 3 things. So Watchtower, think about that. What is eroding the Jehovah Witness faith?
So when you talk about propaganda being put forth, you guys are masters at propaganda.
So in editing this, I went to find the video that showed like the tennis courts, and that was actually the COVID number 6 update that they show that. But when I went to look for that, I found this. Now when I started reading it, I couldn't believe this was actually real. I thought maybe I was on a spoof website or something. I actually scrolled up to the top again to make sure I was on jw.org. It's called the JW Box. I am not joking. I am dead serious. This is a picture that is on their website. A small box that delivers spiritual food. And I'm just going to read this real quick. September 1st, 2020. Like I said, I couldn't believe it. I actually had to scroll to the top to make sure I was still on jw.org. Jehovah's Witnesses receive more spiritual food in digital form than ever before. But in many parts of the world, our brothers cannot afford internet access. Others live in areas with frequent outages, slow internet speeds, or no internet at all. Nevertheless, many of our brothers and sisters can now download digital publications even without an internet connection. How is this possible? JW Box is a small kit that is provided to congregations where internet access is limited. It contains a router device purchased from a commercial firm, software developed by the computer department at Bethel, and digital publications and videos available on jw.org. Each box costs approximately $75 US. At the Kingdom Hall, brothers and sisters connect their mobile devices to JW Box wirelessly and then download publications and videos. Even those who have older or inexpensive devices can connect. But if a congregation lacks internet access, how does JW Box stay up to date? The branch periodically sends USB keys to which cost about $4 each. And I'm thinking it's probably just a flash drive. With new content from jw.org that can be loaded onto JW Box. Just like the cloud, plugged into the cloud. We covered that before. And then they go on to how it has helped so many, Nigeria, and they are thrilled that they can easily download publications and videos from the teaching toolbox. Over 1,700 kits have been sent to our brothers in Africa, Oceania, and South America, and plans are underway to send them to many more congregations. How are the costs of this arrangement covered? By donations to the worldwide work, many of which are made via donate.jw.org. Thank you for your generous support. Jehovah's Witnesses, how is this supporting furthering the gospel, the kingdom message? Not only that, but to me this sounds like more control, because they control all the information now and they can edit publications. So, all of those poor brothers and sisters in these third world countries that don't have internet access, this is prime propaganda, fertile land, let me tell you, because they can put whatever propaganda they want now on their website and in these JW Box. So anyway, I'm going to put the link down below to this. It was, like I said, I just couldn't believe it. Just when you think, you've seen it all and you can't possibly be surprised, now this. So back to the original video. So, to me, this was a very strange outline. And I know the PMOs are probably going to be thinking the same thing when, they're hearing this. It's like, yeah, what are 3 things that have eroded JW's faith in the Watchtower Bible Tract Society?
Well, how about just the very fact that, Watchtower, has us, had us peddle magazines for decades. Oh, is the Bible really the Word of God? Can you really trust the Bible in these last days? Yeah, what has Jehovah done to protect his Word? And yet you Beetlejuices come out with a Bible that is now the revised New World Translation, and you've made changes. You've unbelievable the amount of that. What Watchtower is Watchtower is a warship of propaganda.
True. Now, for those of you in other countries who don't know the term Beetlejuice, it was a movie years ago.
Michael Keaton,
and it might be available online, but it was called Beetlejuice, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious. But see, you couldn't watch it as a Jehovah's Witness because, of the spiritism in it.
Well, the whole thing is the character Beetlejuice was actually a hova, a spirit that played mischief. That's exactly what that character was. You know, just
An
like
Archon.
yeah, just like Jim Carrey's character in The Mask. That spirit, Loki, was a spirit of mischief. It was a hova. You don't believe me? Go look it up in the Strong's Concordance. H-O-V-A-H is a spirit of mischief.
Now, something else that I found interesting about this outline, I've never seen this before on any of the elders' letters or outlines or anything, but look at, it's copyrighted by the Watchtower Bible Tract Society of Pennsylvania.
Oh, so if it's copyrighted, they're going to know whether you deviate or not, or whether you might add something to it or not. But it just, so Watchtower now has a copyrighted elders letters or the service meeting?
The
outline's
It's sent to
copyrighted?
the elders. Interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. Now,
You wanted to do something else too there, dear, that had to do with the congregation analysis
Yes,
report.
thanks for
this was
reminding
something
me.
else that we got.
yeah, with it, the congregation analysis report. Thanks for reminding me.
That's what I'm here for.
Yes, it is. And it's nice to have you home now to help me more all the time on all of this. This report should be compiled by the secretary. The hard copy should be retained in the congregation file, and the report should be submitted on jw.org by September 20th, 2020. And that's what that is. The information requested on this report should be based on the information on the congregation meeting attendance record and the congregation's publisher records for the past service year. Congregations formed during the 2020 service year should report for the months active. They want average meeting attendance. Now, I don't know if this is because they're compiling the service year report right now, but there's a couple of things that I think is very telling and why they're going to try to keep the numbers up, if not more, than what they have in the past. Because, see, they can't show a decline in attendance or publishers, because then that would wake up even more Jehovah's Witnesses. So they've got average meeting attendance. Now, these next boxes are the interesting parts. Active publishers. Obtained by counting the number of publishers, including pioneers. See, now we know from the service reports they have separate pioneer. You know, they have
right.
auxiliary pioneers and special pioneers. So those people are counted twice, because those are actually also included in the active publishers. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay, including pioneers who reported service during one or more of the last 6 months, March through August 2020. All publishers, baptized and unbaptized, regular and irregular, are included in this number. So even irregular publishers are to be included in this number. Now it's interesting because the next line actually has inactive publishers. Now I know some of you PMOs who have been trying to fade during this COVID, you know, who are celebrating that you're now officially inactive publishers because you haven't reported time for 6 months or more. Listen to this next thing. Inactive publishers. Obtained by counting the number of publishers who have not reported field service for 6 consecutive months. That 6-month period could end in any of the 12 months between September 2019 and August 2020. Those who become inactive in previous years and have remained inactive should not be counted. So those of you who went inactive all the way back to September 2019, it sounds like you're still going to be counted.
Yeah, see, that's what you call the overlapping counting numbers. You know, the
Overlapping publisher count?
overlapping publishing count. Exactly.
Yeah. Reactivated publishers. obtained by counting the number of publishers who have been inactive but who started reporting field service again in any of the 12 months between September 2019 and August 2020.
You will now become part of the overlapping reactivated number.
Okay, now listen carefully to this next part. It is possible for the same person to be included in the total number of inactive publishers and the total number of reactivated publishers. So do you see what they're doing?
Yep.
They're going to be counting all of these people twice.
Twice! They're going to be... See, the thing is that the only indication that Jehovah's Witnesses have to look at it for themselves is the numbers on the yearly report. And we all look forward to that because, you know, you can look and see what percentage of growth each country has. If you're being counted twice, then that number is going to be inflated, which allows the governing Beetlejuices to still say, look, we're growing by leaps and bounds. Look at how Jehovah, the Hova spirit, the spirit of mischief, can now make it completely appear that they're still having growth, even though they're selling your kingdom halls right out from underneath you.
So, for an example, let's just say that 100,000 have gone inactive this past service year. Well, according to this, you're still going to be counted.
That's right. You're still going to be counted.
So that 100,000 is going to go towards their total number, you know, if I'm understanding this correctly. And it's like, wow, talk about desperate to keep their numbers up.
Well, the thing is, the only way that you can understand it completely is you have to be in the mind of a Hova.
Yeah, I guess so.
You have to be in the mind of stupidity. You have to be in the mind of mischief. The governing idiots are doing this to make it appear that this organization is still growing, even though there is a severe decline in numbers.
Yeah, they're bleeding members. We know that. We know that. Okay, the next thing I want to mention is it's hard to believe it's that time of year again, isn't it?
I know it.
Yes. September 18th, 2013, the day we were disfellowshipped for apostasy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to put the link down below to Eric's video that he did telling our story. He has screenshots of all the letters and the story that went back and forth. So I'm going to put the link down below to JW's struggle because it was interesting going through all of this. And, of course, I still have all the documents
Right.
and all of that. But, you know, we know that it was his own family, you know, his own mom that turned us in, and he had shown a subliminal image to his brother, who is not a JW, who then, you know, told their mom.
Showed it to my mother.
Yeah, and I didn't know any of this was going on, you know, and I know many of you are new to this channel, so that's why I'm just briefly, you know, because we've told this story probably hundreds of times, but I didn't even know what was going on, because I was at home here, and he had taken a trip over to Arizona, and he was staying with his brother. And so all of a sudden I have family contacting my daughter saying, you know, we're going to assume that since you're so close to your parents that you've gone apostate also. And I'm like, huh, what? So anyway, the witch hunt began. And when we told him just to leave us alone, then we get the certified letter from the Taharas congregation. And I'm just going to mention briefly, it says the body of elders of the Taharas, New Mexico congregation has appointed a judicial committee to meet with you concerning allegations of wrongdoing involving apostasy. We want to assure you of our genuine interest in your spiritual welfare and our heartfelt desire to provide you with assistance in this matter. You are also aware that these sins are serious. And if a person were guilty of such practices and found unrepentant, he would be subject to disfellowshipping. Now, you know, all of you who have been with this channel for a while know that Mike was going to be on a hunt until October 1st. And we contacted them and told them that we could not make their judicial hearing date, and we even had a lawyer send a letter to them and Watchtower's legal department, that we just wanted to be left alone. And of course, lawyer Mario wrote back and said that we're not harassing you, and neither is the body of elders. We just want to give you spiritual guidance. But, they had originally set our judicial hearing for September 7th, 2013 at 7 p.m. at the Kingdom Hall. Well, I wasn't going to go by myself, so we did not go. He went on his hunt, and I stayed at home. I wasn't going to go.
Which was an out-of-town hunt.
Yeah.
So I was going to be out of town. And, for those of you that don't know how New Mexico hunting laws work, you have to get drawn. And you have to, put your application in a pool, and then the computer picks out X amount of numbers. It's a lottery. And it's only like for the particular hunt that I put in was for a 7-day hunt. Once those 7 days are done, your hunting season is finished for the year. So you have a very limited amount of time to accomplish what you want to accomplish and put fresh game in your freezer.
And usually you're only drawn like every 3 years.
Yeah.
Because once you're picked, you kind of go to the bottom of the list for their draw.
Right.
So we had asked them to move it to another date. Well, then they said that they couldn't, that they know
everybody's busy.
Everybody's busy and all of this. And they set it for September 18th. Well, he was still going to be gone. And so, like I said, we didn't, show up. Well, then we received this certified letter, and I'm going to read it. Dear Michael and Kim Brooks, on September 18th, 2013, a judicial committee of the Tijeras, New Mexico congregation decided that you should be disfellowshipped from the congregation for the reasons mentioned in our previous letter inviting you to meet with the judicial committee. And then it says we can appeal this decision. And it's like, no, we're not going to appeal it.
No, because it was much easier to get in front of a camera and say, Watchtower, you guys made a huge mistake in disfellowshipping these two.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Pete Herrera, who signed this, he wasn't supposed to be in the investigative elders, but he's one of them that showed up to interrogate me by myself.
See,
and we pointed that out to him.
And it was complete violation of the direction in their elders' books. Now we know you guys are a bunch of hypocrites. You can't even follow the rules that Watchtower lays out. The 8 governing idiots, the 8 governing Beetlejuices. You guys can't even follow them.
Yes. Exactly.
So it's been a wonderful ride. We've enjoyed doing what we're doing.
So 7 years ago, on September 18th, which will be the day after tomorrow, 7 years we were disfellowshipped, and we've been awake for 8 years because it was October 12th, the weekend of October 12th and 13th. And it was funny, because at that point, we can remember looking at each other and say, we're going to get disfellowship for this.
Yep.
Yeah.
We knew it.
So that's why we always celebrate this as a wonderful anniversary, because of 7 years of freedom now.
And go ahead.
And I was just going to say, I'm sure Watchtower and the Tijeras congregation, I don't know if they would, sorry they did that, and treated us that way. But, we've got the scans for the letters of the certified letters and the Watchtower lawyer's letter. And this has been great information to do every year, because all of those waking up and watching YouTube videos, guess what? It's done. You can be disfellowshipped on hearsay. You can be accused of apostasy by anybody, and if you do not show up to defend yourself, and even if you do, and they don't like your defense, guess what? You still get disfellowshipped.
Yeah. So the thing is that 7 years ago we found our freedom from Watchtower, and because Kim and I chose not to stop researching at that point, We immersed ourselves into research on a great number of subjects. It's nice to sit back here and say that we have found our freedom in more than one place, but it's also great to be able to look at this camera and say, Watchtower, we've hurt you more than you've hurt us.
Exactly.
We've hurt you more than you have hurt us.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'll tell you, it's been an amazing roller coaster ride the past 7 years, and we hope to have another 7 years of doing activism, you know, maybe even beyond. We just don't know what the future holds for all of us. And we just really enjoy, you know, doing activism. I don't know if we know now what we would have known back then if we would have, you know, gotten into all of this, but I don't know. But it's kind of like a snowball rolling down a hill and just gaining momentum. It's not like you can stop it. I mean, you just get out of its way.
Well, the thing is Watchtower recognizes that, you know, if this channel goes down, there's 1,000 other ex-Jehovah's Witnesses behind us that'll be more than happy to stand up and continue doing what we're doing, because that's what this whole ex-Jehovah Witness movement is about. It's exposing a culture, a cult that ultimately is damaging peoples and families.
Well, it also makes me wonder, you know, that letter and the outline we read about their Christian neutrality.
Yeah.
I know that we've done videos about the voting being a conscience matter.
That's right.
You know, there are some magazine articles mentioning that. I've watched some videos here recently from some ex-JWs who are using that same information, saying, look, you know, voting is a conscience matter.
That's right.
So is Watchtower trying to hammer it into the Jehovah's Witness minds now? Are they trying to guilt the PMOs into not voting? Because, you know, the PMOs can register and vote now without even telling anybody.
That's right.
You know, so it makes me wonder if they're trying to prevent these PMOs now from voting in this year's election coming up here in a couple of months. Makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder.
Now, we had mentioned a piece of artwork that Conrad did for us, and I sent him the picture because we had it matted in a beautiful turquoise color and kind of a barn board frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to mention that we have some other artwork that we're going to be getting done, framed, matted and framed, because I know many of you other artists have done some beautiful artwork for us, and so we're going to be working on getting that done and hung up in our house. Like Kat, I know this has been hanging on our wall back here for a while, but we finally got it matted and in the frame, so we're going to get that put up.
And before anybody looks at that reflection and thinks that we're working off a teleprompter, I got news for you.
We're not having a Biden moment.
No, that's right.
That is my desktop. It's a beautiful ocean scene.
It's not a teleprompter.
With some rocks in the background. That's the, you know, my desktop. And Emily, thank you, sweetie. We finally got your watercolor matted and framed also.
Yes.
And I've got a couple of more. We actually have a professional artist that did a drawing for Mike at one of the rendezvous.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be getting that matted and framed next. And I'll show you guys. That is, I think it's going to look really nice as soon as I can decide what color to mat it in.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing, you know, doing what I've been doing for the past 30 plus years, the whole Mountain Man Rendezvous thing. I've had the awesome privilege of meeting a lot of artists. You know, I myself, I do scrimshaw work. I don't really show it. I mean, it's quality stuff, but I just don't show it. But anyhow, having the privilege of, you know, being the subject of period artwork is very thrilling for me. I mean, it's an accomplishment. It's something that I don't know that I would say that I was actually attaining to, you know, with my whole persona, but it's something that just naturally
You just kind of fell into it.
I fell into it, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like, you know, one of the actors for, there's a series, I don't remember what channel it's on. I think it's A&E or History Channel, one of those. And it's an actual series called The Mountain Men.
Yeah.
And he's met one of the actors that is on that, you know, up at one of the rendezvous he goes to in Colorado. Yeah, a couple of them.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a very close-knit family.
Yeah.
Family, you know, and they have a lot of fun at these, and it's
You know,
just a shame that they got shut down this year because of COVID.
Well, you know, and that's one of the things that if you listen to a lot of XJWs that are trying to give advice on, you know, the best method to leave Watchtower,
Yeah.
I think, and I will concur with every other XJW YouTuber out there that'll tell you, before you leave, have another foundation, have a group of friends. Now, I know for someone who's a born-in, you know, being able to reach out to a non-Jehovah Witness and try to become a friend with them is a difficult thing to do, because you are treading in waters that you know nothing about. And that was one thing that really helped Kim and I make the transition, because being, you know, a buckskinner, a mountain man doing these rendezvous for 30 plus years, we already had a base of friends that were our support system, that completely understood what we were going through. Well, maybe not completely, but they were there to offer any assistance they could. In fact, I'm going to give you guys something that I think we've only talked about once, maybe twice in this channel over the years. When Kim got sick, we were living in Wisconsin, and we were already doing our social distancing at that point, because we could not go anywhere near Kingdom Halls, you know, dry clean clothing, perfumes, aftershaves. That became our new normal. We just couldn't do it. But it was interesting that even Kim's own flesh and blood, her brother, would not even have us over their home because they were afraid to give her a chemical reaction.
An asthma attack.
Yeah, and those words on the surface appear to be loving, but I want to show how selfish those words really, really are. So by stark contrast, this couple right here, that, you know, in the mind of Jehovah's Witnesses, are slated for death at Armageddon. This couple right here, they understood Kim's medical problems, and they understood our religious beliefs at that time. And Margaret basically said to me one day, you know, we'd like to have you and Kim over for dinner. Now, we know you don't celebrate Christmas, but everybody has December 25th off. We would like to have you over to our house for dinner. We won't celebrate Christmas. We won't say Merry Christmas. We have no gifts for you. Then she said, you need to tell us what we have to do to make our house safe for Kim. Unlike her brother, well, I don't want to give her a chemical attack. You know, I don't want to have him over here because I'm afraid to give him a chemical attack. This couple went the extra mile. Now, keep in mind, the mind of Jehovah's Witnesses, this couple is slated for death.
They're worldly people, bad association.
But yet they said, you tell us what we need to do. Now, Margaret used to color her hair. So one of the first things that Kim said was, well, a month before, don't color your hair, so that
or at least a week before.
Yeah, whatever the timing was. But this couple was willing to do whatever was necessary. They were willing to go out of their way.
Now, It's a shame because we lost Margaret to pancreatic cancer, but Bill, we are still in contact with him. We still exchange Christmas cards every year. There's another Buck Skinner in Wisconsin that still calls, Mike, and we always know it's him because the first thing he'll say is "arr," like a pirate.
Arr.
Yeah.
How is me matey doing?
But he
today?
still calls at least once or twice a month, and there's others that we still exchange letters and Christmas cards, and so it just shows the difference. But the point being, and we watched a video by Coach DeFree, I believe that's the one you were watching yesterday, and she's making a good point, is we all need to go on with our lives. Some of us may choose to still do activism. That's fine. Mike and I still enjoy doing videos and sharing with everybody things that we learn, things that Watchtower's up to, different things, and we still enjoy doing that. But we've basically gone on with our lives, and now that we've got some life changes, we're going to be focusing on our side business now, which actually now becomes our main business.
Yeah, our main business.
So, that's the thing. And hobbies, any of us who have hobbies, like the beautiful artwork, it's great to see so many of you doing the things that you enjoy. And that's the thing is, we were in Watchtower all together, but we need to move beyond that and go on. It's like we need to get a life.
And just remember, before you completely walk away from Watchtower, try to find something that interests you, that you can make friends with somebody who could potentially be a support system for you.
Yeah, the Mountain Man thing we were doing before, we left. We, like Mike had mentioned, we've been doing it for over 30 years.
Over 30 years.
As a side business. That was the way we, did it in our mind. Oh, well, this is a side business to make a little bit extra money, so we can do this. Little did we know that it was actually helping us, giving us a support system for when we did leave, and making inventory in our crafts and stuff, arts and crafts and stuff, has been a lifesaver in helping us move on.
Yeah. So, there again, it's sound advice. Because the last thing that's going to be difficult for you to leave one culture, one cult, and get involved with another one without having some sort of support system. And you have to remember, this whole entire world is all engulfed with a cult. It's culture. You have your political cultures. Some political cultures are dangerous. Some political cultures are damaging. Some religious cultures are damaging and dangerous. But ultimately, no matter what cult you decide to get involved with, there is going to be somebody there saying, well, you better do it this way or else.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what it is.
Now, our daughter is a sociology major. I mean, she was like on the dean's list and aced this class, and she actually got her bachelor's degree in sociology. So, I mean, she's been taking it for years, and even now in her job she interprets sociology classes and other classes. But she's the one that got us onto this research. She gave us her old textbooks, and you can go through and read everything in this society. Basically is a cult. It's a culture, and that's where the word cult comes from culture. So any culture, it all has some different aspects, and you just have to control
That's the thing.
it. Don't let it control you.
Right, that's the thing. You control it.
And that's what's going on in social media now, is people trying to control you with their culture, with their cult. And that's why we just have to say no.
Right.
No, I'm not going to let anyone control me anymore. And that is the crux of what this boils down to.
Right.
Is say, look, I know this is a cult, I don't want anything to do with this. And it can be anything. It can be anything. My daughter interpreted a Herbalife meeting, and she called me and she says, oh my God. She says, I could hear the cult mentality. She said, they actually said, do not miss your Herbalife meetings. It's so important that you would even want to miss a relative's funeral to go to your Herbalife meeting. Sound familiar? See, and that's why she can recognize this like this now. So even something as simple as a Herbalife meeting or a Tupperware meeting, just to give an example of some of these meetings, that, it's all about control and mind control, behavior control, information control, thought control, and emotion control.
Exactly.
And like
BITE.
Yeah, and that's what I've told many of the other YouTubers. Try your best to ignore these trolls and these agents because they're there just to control you.
Yep.
Because that's what they want. They want to drive all of us away from activism.
And when they do, who does it ultimately benefit, friends?
Yeah.
First of all, top of the list is Watchtower, and then there are those underneath them that are 501c3 also. They're not free churches of Christ. So ultimately, when we expose Watchtower little by little by little, we are taking every rung off that ladder, and eventually there's going to be nothing to support that ladder because all the rungs are gone, and it's just going to fall to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I just want to mention real quick before we sign off, because we're running out of battery, that there's been some things that have been going on that you will never hear in the news. And this was actually from a month ago, but it was called Operation Legend.
I believe so.
And it's still going on. Arrests, these rings and these arrests, and, the swamp is being drained.
Yeah.
But let's face it, there's some that enjoy being in the swamp and want to cause problems.
Yep.
In all aspects, not just political, but, social media, YouTube, you name it. So I guess the best advice from an older couple is just don't let anybody control you.
Right.
Just say no. And Utah is the latest state that the ring was busted up and several arrests.
Child trafficking.
Yeah.
Child abuse. It's meanie Tico Parson. It's all right there, friends.
Yes, exactly.
You just got to know where to look for it on the internet because all those articles are there, but they do get buried, they do get suppressed because they do not want John Q. Public to wake up to what's really happening in the political arena.
Yeah, and I know there are some channels on YouTube that will cover these. You can also Google, a lot of times I find them by Googling federal marshal arrests. Yep. If you do that, federal marshal arrests, a lot of these will come up.
Yep.
And there's some disturbing ties, with political people, who will never admit this, but they do have ties to some of these
and
rings.
even some religious ties from what I've read.
Yeah. Yep,
so
exactly.
Don't be surprised, friends. Don't be surprised.
Yeah, exactly. And, they're going to do their best to shut all of us up. So you YouTubers and you activists, hang in there. Don't let them control you.
That's right.
Don't let them control you. So thank you, everybody, for watching. And we want to thank all of you. We're about to hit 30,000 subscribers, if we haven't already. I haven't checked it all week. But thank you, because without all of you, we wouldn't have this channel. There wouldn't have been 7 years of activism.
Yeah.
And all of you who send me, information and these, leaked letters, all of our sources and, articles and documents, information. Thank you so much, because it's all of you that have helped us the past 7 years in doing this activism. And like I said, we have no plans to retire yet. And now that Mikey is no longer working, he can help me out a little bit more. So hopefully I can get caught up on emails. Hopefully.
See, the thing is I got to get her away from the computer long enough for me to answer emails because there's so much coming in with, these secretly leaked letters and everything else. So.
Well, I need to teach him how to use my laptop so that we can have the two computers going at once. So.
Yeah, so
that's going to be a fun job.
So we can have overlapping computers.
Yeah, but that's going to be a fun job because I don't think he even knows how to turn on any of my computers. And to even get to emails, I don't think he even knows how to do that. I love you, dear.
I can muddle my way through it.
So it's going to be fun teaching him how to do that. So thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate everything, the love and support and cards and artwork and phone calls and emails and comments. And just know that we love you all, and happy anniversary to everybody.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.